It had been a day of running around. Katie found out that if you play badminton, there's a whole lot of chasing the birdie before you get to hit it back. Orbie learned that if you let giant bubbles go, they tumble and turn in the air. And they both discovered that a butterfly stops on a whole lot of flowers before it flies away. It was late afternoon, and Katie and Orbie were practicing roller skating on the walkway. Orbie felt a little something in his tummy that told him he needed to eat a snack. He tooted to Katie that he'd be right back, and he hopped all the way inside the house. Mom was downstairs in the workshop looking for picture hooks, so Orbie decided to help himself. He pulled out the cut carrots from the fridge and took one out. He munched on it, but then he decided that the crunchy carrot stick wasn't exactly what he felt like. He put the half-eaten carrot on the table and looked around for something else. In the fruit bowl, there were some delicious-looking dark red apples. Orbie grabbed one and licked his lips. This was going to be just perfect. He stood up on the stepping stool and washed the apple off in the sink. When it was all clean, he dried it and took a big bite. Now, I know it's strange, but after 3 bites, Orbie's tummy told him that an apple wasn't quite what he wanted. He placed the apple on the kitchen table beside the carrot. Orbie looked around the kitchen, scratched his head. His tummy wanted something, but he just didn't know what that something was. Orbie climbed up on the counter with his sticky fingers and rifled through the cupboard. He pulled out a cherry granola bar. He burbled as he jumped down. The cherry granola bar looked just perfect. Orbie ripped open the package and took a great big bite. As he chewed, he thought, yes, this is exactly what my tummy wants. But I have to tell you that after the next bite, his tummy didn't want it anymore. Granola was good, but he wanted something else. He put it on the table beside the carrot and the half-eaten apple. Orbie pulled open the fridge door. There in the cheese drawer were some yummy-looking cheese sticks. Orbie grinned. This was positively, absolutely what his tummy wanted, and he pulled one out. As he bit into the cheese stick, it felt good and squishy on his teeth. It was fresh cheese and the best he'd ever tasted, until the second bite. And I know it's really hard to believe, but on the second bite, Orbie decided he didn't really want cheese either. He put the cheese stick on the table beside the half-eaten carrot, apple, and granola bar. Now, as Orbie had a bite of each thing, his fussy tummy was in fact filling up, so when he saw a gigantic bubble floating by the window, he decided he'd rather go outside and bubble chase than be inside trying to find something to eat. Katie walked into the kitchen at that time and noticed all the food on the table, and she asked Orbie what he was doing. He explained that he just couldn't find what he felt like. Katie told him that nibbling on all that food and leaving it unfinished was wasting. Orbie looked down at the ground. He felt bad that Katie was disappointed in him. At that moment, Mom walked in and asked what was up. Orbie explained, and Mom pulled out a plastic bag. She picked up his nibbled-on food and put it in the bag. She told Orbie she'd save it all in the fridge until another time when he felt more like it. Then she kissed the top of Orbie's head and told him they were having Orbits for supper. Orbits were his most favorite food. Orbie smiled, but I have to tell you, that was still not what his tummy wanted. Just as Orbie was heading out to play bubbles, Dad called for someone to open the door. Orbie wondered why Dad couldn't open it himself, and he turned the knob. Dad was standing there holding some big brown paper bags and 4 big flowers. Dad thanked Orbie for opening the door as he hurried to the kitchen table. Mom was stirring the pot and looking around. Orbie overheard that Dad had bought a delicious dessert. Orbie imagined a pie stuffed with blueberries, or a huge box of ginger cookies, or maybe even a gargantuan chocolate cake. Now that was exactly what his tummy felt like. But when he got to the kitchen table, Dad was handing out leis. They were long, brightly colored necklaces. Dad announced that tonight was Hawaiian night and they were having a luau. Then he gave everyone a big flower to stick behind their ears. Dad gave Orbie one with a little headband. Although he loved his Hawaiian decorations, Orbie couldn't keep his eyes off the bag. He couldn't wait to see the great big Hawaiian cake that Dad was going to pull out. But Orbie got a big surprise. It wasn't a cake at all. When Dad reached into the bag, he pulled out a big fat pineapple, a watermelon, some mangoes, guava, passion fruit, and a coconut. Orbie was a little upset. He finally knew what he had been wanting all day. It was cake. Now all there was on the table was fruit, and some weird-looking fruit at that. Dad told Katie and Orbie that before they could even cut the fruit and put it together in a fruit bowl, they had to do a hula dance all the way around the table. Dad grabbed Mom as he danced by, and they did a very silly hula around the table and laughed all the way. Then they told Katie and Orbie it was their turn, and they did a very crazy dance, too. Dad said finally he was in the mood to make the fruit salad. Katie and Orbie helped by washing their hands and being fruit loaders. Every time something was ready to go into the great big fruit bowl, they scooped it up and put it in. Supper was delicious. And when dessert came, Orbie had completely forgotten about the chocolate cake. His tummy was finally happy. He thought the Hawaiian fruit salad was so good, he got up and danced another hula dance to show it. Everybody danced the hula when supper was over. It had been great fun. And I happen to know that if you had been there, you would have danced the hula with Katie and Orbie, too.